Do you ever get the feeling that the only news is bad news? When you look on the internet, watch the news on what used to be called a television set, or read a newspaper, it's all a bit grim, to say the least. Even good stories tend to end with a corollary, but. So little, it would seem, concludes on a note of optimism and hopefulness. To every beautiful azure sky, there is an inclination to applique a broad streak of miserable grey that in an instant removes any faint glimmer of brightness. I'm not the only person to make this observation, and there is nothing new about it. Even before the advent of the ubiquitous COVID-19, doom and gloom dominated the press headlines. If ever there was an upside to be rejoiced in, you could guarantee that it would be eclipsed by the downside. This nation's milk bottle is invariably half empty and seemingly never half full. The mood, I suppose, would sometimes be lightened with an occasional report of some heroic hedgehog crossing the M6, or a three-legged cat bravely pitting its feline agility against a pit bull terrier. However, these are hardly tales, forgive the pun, likely to redress the British state of mind. With the mantras of this present time, is it any wonder that people look so glum? Just consider these words and expressions and the number of the times in a single day that we hear them. Danger, risk, mask, don't touch, avoid, isolate, keep your distance, fear, anxiety, infection, quarantine, separation, seclusion, shielding, confinement, keep away. I would never want to ignore the seriousness of the situation in which we all find ourselves. But as Christians, it is necessary for us to voice the lingua franca of the Church so as to interrupt the almost unceasing messages of negativity. And this language, this lingua franca, affirms our hope in God's promises, finding in the Holy Spirit courage to face whatever uncertainties lie in front of us, having faith in Jesus and trusting our lives to him in their entirety. And quite aside from that, all of us need to continue to remind ourselves that life does indeed, in fact, go on. Men and women still fall in love. They continue to get married and share in God's creation. Children do continue to be born. Friendships are made. They are nurtured, and laughter is heard. In the bedroom that I shared with my brother as a child, there was a poster on the wall on which were printed the words of the Desiderata. It's a piece of American prose, and amongst its many moral observations about life, it expresses this sentiment. For all its sham and drudgery, it is still a beautiful world. St. John Paul II always got up before dawn, even in his last years. And when asked why, he said, "Because I like to see the sun rise." I really do wonder at times how many people across the entire world may have lost that insight into the constant wonder of God's creation, submerged as so much is beneath the weight of melancholic angst. The Holy Spirit brings love and joy and peace to enlighten the church. He is not the harbinger of doom, gloom, despondency, despair, or nihilism. We all live in somewhat trying times, as I have said. But these times are not made any less trying when we too may find ourselves being dragged into cycles of negativity and our sense of joy draining away. It is the duty of each Christian man and woman to see beyond the clouds and to lead others to do so as well. Our baptismal promises remind us that we are to be light in God's world. There is so much need for the light of Christ in our current times. So then, keep the faith, and as you pray for me, I shall surely pray for you.